Once upon a time, Polly ran frantically through the dark forest of fear and doubt until one day she slowed down enough to notice the trees were beautiful. The more she noticed the trees, the less she saw the darkness. She discovered she was in an olive grove rather than a forest. This is when she uncovered her magic truth. Polly's purpose is to shine in every way. Welcome to her manifesting success story. Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Paulie Rojas for another in her Years of Growth series. Welcome, Paulie.
Hello, Cassie, again and again.
I know this is like a bonus episode because it is May 1st, 2023. So Polly, last week you heard her 5 years where she had that amazing, beautiful revelation of I need to let go of this part that I've been holding on to. And it was, there's some confidential stuff because I actually wanted to use the recording of what happened a week later. But I went and looked at it and I was like, oh, some of that is like confidential for parts that you're getting and things like that. But it was 15 minutes, like a week after you had that. Whoa, right? It was the next time that we had a one-on-one, which was like a week later. There was 15 minutes of what's awesome. Do you remember this coaching call?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Definitely.
Because things just opened up after that, right? Yeah.
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 I don't even know where to start. But yeah, I remember being like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like the oh my gods just kept happening and happening. So I had a whole list of, and normally our one-on-ones are 15 minutes, but thank goodness we had 30 minutes because that would
Yes.
all just been just amazing. It's happenings and everything. So the biggest thing that we're going to talk about today is the inspiration that I got last year to go to London, to move to London,
Yes.
and how it's all unfolding and how I just feel the growth that we've done and that I've done and how important it is to stay present, and also learning how fear and doubt are ever present. Like it's not like, oh, London and voila, it's still happening, but there is also the awareness and the feelings that have to be felt. It's almost magnified. As good as it gets is also can also magnify all other feelings, but knowing how to, we've the way you've coached me to feel it through and just feel the feelings purely and then allow inspiration and whispers have been crazy. So it's been a journey. But gosh, where do I start?
Well, let's
London.
You touched on that, and then we're going to break down like this London inspiration to
Yes.
everything falling into place. But you had mentioned, so let's talk about this before we jump into that. Feeling your feelings completely.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us how you've really begun to understand that on a deeper level and how it's playing out right now.
Okay. The thing that and it's a pattern that I see not just with me, so I know I'm not alone, is that what does it actually mean to feel your feelings? Right? And it's the if I'm thinking, then I'm not feeling. So
Yeah.
that's the simplified version, which is, great when simplicity is the best thing when feelings are happening, right?
Yes.
So I know that when I'm truly feeling something, it's all in my body. But if I start getting into like revving in my brain, then I'm not feeling anymore. It's all thinking. And so I'm getting more sophisticated and really feeling the feelings. And whether it's in my chest or it's in I get this, my body works this way when I have really bad anxiety. My arms hurt or like my arms feel really
Yeah.
so I'm getting really well versed at allowing the weird sensation in my arms. I'm like, that's the feeling. So it's, I guess the silver lining is I know I'm really feeling all the way because I feel it in my arms or I feel it wherever it is. And I recently experienced really like intense anger, and I felt it. It was so pure. I felt it just, and there was no thought. It was just rage. And then a day later, I got what I wanted. So that was really
Mhm.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything seems to be working out, and like things are happening quicker and cleaner, I would say, because
Mhm.
I'm learning to really to know what it is like. And there are times where I know I'm not feeling all the way because I'm thinking and I don't know what to do. Like I can't stop getting out of my
Yeah.
head. And
Mhm.
so I just acknowledge like, okay, this is not feeling all the way. I don't know what else to do. And I just like allow myself to think. Like I do give myself the space to be like, okay, I'm just
Mhm.
thinking this out. So the question that you asked was about uh like what lessons have
I
stuck
think you did it. Like, what is that feeling you're feeling? 'Cause I think you nailed it, right? This
hmm
is where you are in that process, and it's
hmm
opening up all of this space for either even greater alignment, right?
hmm
And to be
hmm
able to feel the capacity and feel everything about like your trip. And like you said, emotions are always there. We don't get over being scared. We don't get over
hmm
being, we just learn to feel it and then let
hmm
it move through us instead of holding on to it with our thoughts and like repeating this. I am, to me, it's different, right? There's the I feel scared, which is when we're really in our feelings and we're letting that energy flow through this. And then there's that I am scared, which is
hmm
like this top level where it's just like this buzz of the
hmm
feeling that's a lot of times created by our thoughts.
hmm
Yeah.
Totally, and because I have, my irrational fear is flying, which is ironic because I fly so much,
Hmm.
but, I mean, that's pure fear whenever not all the time, just when
Yeah.
there's a little turbulence, and I'm like, "There's nothing I can do," and just feel this fear, and then I'm fine. But, I we had this coaching call a couple of weeks ago where I didn't even realize I was as scared as I was because I, on inspiration, booked my flight to London, and
Hmm.
I still haven't found a place because it hasn't been inspired or it hasn't been. I've gotten close, but it's not there yet. But I remember, and I still feel this way that I just started crying, and I was like, I don't know why I'm going. I just know I'm going, and I'm so scared. I have no idea what's going to happen, and still feel this way right now. Maybe you can hear it in my voice. I'm so scared, but there's it. It's almost like I'm being pulled. I feel like a little kid right now that doesn't want to like get in the shower, and you're like, no,
Yeah.
it's good for you, and they're like, you're like dragging them. I feel
Yeah.
like London or whatever that pull is like is the shower, and I'm
Hmm.
like no, it's not so much like I don't want to. It's I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then you have an amazing shower, you feel clean, and you're like, "Oh," so you don't wanna get out of the bathtub? Uh,
Yeah.
so I know that and it's really cool because a lot of things have been happening that I feel are signs in a way, that I'm not even looking for signs, they're just popping up?
Hmm.
So, that's really exciting, and I this is all 100% inspiration. Like
Yeah.
with all inspiration. So much so that I feel like if I, like, fell asleep, I would still for the next I'd go next week, I would still end up in London somehow. Like, there's no way I'm
Yes.
not going to be in London.
Amazing,
Mhm,
right? So, like,
mhm,
even if I was asleep, somehow I would
mhm. I
I
would
would
wake
get to
up in
London.
London. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it
Ah,
feels like.
amazing. All right. So
Mhm,
let's back up and kind of walk from the moment of inspiration to move to London to this moment where you're going to visit. So you're not officially moving yet, which is
mhm,
awesome.
mhm.
But it was just tell us how the inspiration showed up to move to London.
I woke up and said, "I wanna move to London." I it was just there, and
Yeah.
I thought, "Oh, come on. No way I've always wanted to live there," but, it was like the grand idea, like, on the or, the marquee sign was like, "Move to London," and everything else was like, "No, I don't know." Like, just all the doubts and like, "Can I really? No, I don't know." So I sat on it for a while, and it's something I've always wanted to do, so I knew it was, it meant something, and I can't remember, I think I might have mentioned it to my boyfriend, and he was like, "Awesome." I was like, "Oh, cool. That's great, 'cause he's the best." And then, of course, I made an appointment with, like, an immigrations lawyer. I made an appointment with I like, thinking,
There's a
okay, I
couple
need
things. Yeah.
right, like I got to get my ducks in the row. And it's funny, I've actually never used that expression before. So ducks, that is the expression though, right? Ducks in a row.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
ducks in a row.
yes,
Yeah,
my
you gotta
ducks
get
in a
all your
row.
ducks in a row.
Yeah, and so I met with a lawyer, and she ended up like not really being a lawyer. So we were both like, "What are we doing here?" I was like, "Okay, cool." But then I met another one, and she was like, "You have to, basically saying the feeling was like it's impossible, essentially.
Mhm.
Like unless you're already Beyonce or like a knighted actor, like Ben Kingsley, like whatever,
Yeah.
like it's impossible, right?" I'm like, "Okay, thank you very much." And then I had a meeting with my managers in the United States to tell them about this idea. And I was in my sister's house in California, and it was a beautiful day. And they all are on Zoom. Not all of them, three of them are on Zoom. And they were like, "Oh, London, huh? Good luck." Like,
Right.
like, let us know how it goes.
Mhm.
And I just thought, like, aren't you like supposed to help me? Like,
Right.
isn't this what we do together? And they gave me their blessings, bless their hearts, and said it's very difficult and don't very realistic, right? And
Right.
I said, I know better than to argue. I just said, yeah, great. Thank you so much for your blessings. That's all I need. And then as soon as like right as we were about to hang up, I got this is part of like the alignment stuff. As soon as I was wrapping up with them, I got an audition to do the voice of Perdita, the Dalmatian,
Mhm.
um, from Disney, and I somehow knew I was going to book it. So I had that meeting, kind of like threw it away in my head. Did the audition. Of course, Perdita is this sophisticated dog in London, so
Right.
I did the audition in my mom's bedroom, and I booked it, and like on the same day. And it was part of that was the feeling that I had of like, of course, it's working out. Like this
Yeah.
isn't it's happening for me. So I guess a long-winded answer is that like a lot of things could have popped up that could deter me and be like, it's not actually worth it in the end. There's too much. But I feel like even if I had those feelings and believed them, again, it would be like I'd fall asleep and still wake up in London.
Yeah.
So that's how strong this feeling is. So, and I still don't know what's going to happen. I'm excited for when I find out, whatever does happen. But I have a very strong feeling that it's going to be incredible,
Yeah.
whatever
And I think
happens.
that strong feeling. I think it's easy to outsource, which is a little bit
Hmm.
um like what just happened. It's like, oh, it was so meant to be. This has nothing to do with me,
Hmm.
except for that it does, right? You followed inspiration and you it's not the like the meant to be part. It's the
Hmm.
like this was my inspiration and I'm going to
Mhm.
follow it.
Mhm.
And I think when we follow inspiration, and by follow it doesn't mean push it,
Mhm.
right? You met with a lawyer, and this is over a span of like 3 years, like it's over a span of a while. All of
Mhm.
those things, right?
Mhm.
Because in the first, it was like, oh, I met with the lawyer, and like, it didn't seem like it was going to go good. And then, oh, you
Mhm.
have to do this thing that like is really hard to get, and I don't know
Mhm.
how I'd prove that. And what you kept doing was putting it down,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
Like not pushing it. You weren't frantically researching when someone said, oh, good luck, it's really hard, you have to do this thing. You weren't like frantically googling like how to get around that thing, right? Or
Yes.
how to become an actor in London, or any of those things. You were just following the process,
Yes.
right?
100%. And I'm laughing because I just realized how a lot of the stuff that we've worked on is if I have a negative feeling, I go, but I'm fabulous. I'm great. Like I
Yeah.
sugarcoat it and you're like, stop doing that. Just stop and let go of it and don't put anything on top. Right. And
Hmm.
so I just realized as you were saying this that like, I put it down, but it was like well, that sucks. That was the
Hmm.
thought was like, well, that's stupid, that sucks. And then that was it. It
Yes.
wasn't like, it doesn't matter. I'm still gonna get through, I didn't have those. It was like, this sucks. So I'm gonna stop doing anything. Which is I just had
Yes.
that realization that it wasn't like a happy thing. It was like a what it is.
Hmm.
It was what it was. And then I
Yes.
put it down. Yeah. And then progress. So yeah, I think I got this idea, this feeling less than a year ago about
Yeah.
London. Yeah, so it's relatively happening quickly
Mhm.
without me, like, forcing anything. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool too. That's really neat.
That is really cool
Mhm,
because it's one of the I would say start to finish, it's you've been putting it down. Like,
mhm,
okay, here's this idea. I don't know what to do now, so just put it down.
mhm.
Right. And I think we even did some coaching really on like, oh, should I look for apartments? Like, should I act as if? And I'm like, no, just wait till you're inspired.
Yes.
Right. Like, if one day you find yourself looking, that's
Mhm.
fine. But there is parts where like acting as if is pushing, like, because then it would be in that space that you used to be in of like, oh, I'm going to visualize this amazing space and blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah, instead
Mhm.
of being present in your New York life
I was
until
gonna
your
say
life
that.
moves. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, no, you nailed it. Like, it puts me in the, like, like, in a fairy tale that, like, I'm not real. Like, not that I'm not real, but I'm, like, not present. I'm in this
Hmm.
dream cloud that I'm pushing to stay on
Yes.
versus being present and creating in that way, because that is the way, my backup, is, well, I'll just be in dreamland because I, not because it feels good to be there, but because I'm, like, forcing myself to be there because I
Yes.
think I would think that that's what's going to get me what I want.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is another realization on this call.
Yes, that's amazing. And
Mhm.
so then you're like, okay, well, there's no way. And so then I think that inspiration, how were you inspired to connect with who is now your London manager?
I
But like at
know.
that point was like
Mhm.
this kind of random, how were you inspired to even, do you even remember?
So I have a friend who I've talked about before, Joe Apfelbaum. He was one of my mentors, and he's Mr. LinkedIn, like all the LinkedIn strategies and all of that. That's his, like, his he it turns him on. He loves it. And I was hanging out with him, and he's like, "This is what you got to do with LinkedIn. Is it's connect with these people, London people, blah blah." Super supportive friend,
Yes,
and
I
that
remember.
it's perfect for him.
Hmm.
That's it turns him on. It doesn't turn me on. It turns him on, right? And but because of that, I found out, like, about the spotlight for actors. It's this, like, in the UK for actors, this website where it helps people, actors, and there's a list of casting directors and a list of agents and managers, and they have events. And so it's like the 101, acting 101. So of course
Hmm.
I put myself up on spotlight, and I go on a list, and I think I maybe emailed like 60 people, and there's maybe like 6,000 people to reach, right?
Yeah.
There's so many people. And I was like, I just told myself, whoever I'm emailing, these are whoever that, I'm not going to do any more than that, like the first page,
Yeah.
these are the people that I'm emailing, and I'm not going to spend any more time, like, seeing who else. So I sent all of them a bit of a mass email with my headshots, my resume, what I want, right? I'm like, and I just so happened to hear someone, like, an actor's podcast, which I don't really listen to, but I just happened to listen to this one thing that it's a guy that helps actors get representation. And he said, tell them what you want, like, ask for, which is what we do anyway. And I'm now
Yeah.
connecting, right? You just say, like, this is how, as far as I've gotten on my own, I want someone that can take me to the next, or I want someone that can help me get to where I want to go, which is this, this, and this, right? So I exactly what I did. I've gotten as far as I can on my own. I want to have representation, do theater and films in London, and I'm looking for someone to help me get there. And so, of course, I got lots of non-answers, lots of bounced back emails, the whole thing. And one management said, "We are extremely interested in you." And I said, "Ha, ha, ha, great, wonderful." And so that was such a triumph. And so uh, we emailed, and she wanted me to go right away to England. And I said, "Yeah, of course. Hell, let's do it." And then I told my manager, and he was like, in the United States, and he said, "Why don't you just, like, meet her on Zoom first and then go to London?" And I thought, okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Because I also wanted to go to visit my sister again for my niece's third birthday. And that was like the quickest, like, ticket I ever bought, right? Was to go to
Hmm.
California. But I was really hesitating on London. So of course that wasn't a hell yeah. And I just said, "Hey, could we please meet, but to Zoom, and then go from there? I can come." And she said, "Well, we would really love to see you in person, but yeah, let's do it." we had the meeting, and she was a dream, like, so incredible, got along so well, so, efficient, very straightforward, asked me great questions, and then the next email that I got from her was that, um, she sees me rocketing to success, meeting the right casting directors in London, but I have to be in London. So now that's why I'm going to go next week, is to meet her in person. But it was just
Yes.
so great that that one person was there in that email, the whatever amount of
Yes.
people. Yeah.
I love it. So many amazing things. I want to back up because in the middle of this, this whole you can't work in London thing,
Mhm.
you got this offer from UNICEF.
Yes. Oh, right, right, right. Well, yes, 2 things happened. One, this organization called the Africa Health Organization reached out to me.
Yeah.
Yes, and then also UNICEF, and the the headquarters are in London and Zimbabwe, but the guy who runs it, he lives in London. So, and he this happened the same it might have been the same day that I had these meetings, actually. Like, I met with the manager in London, and then I met with the CEO of the Africa Health Organization, Graciano, and it was just so cool because he found me and he asked me to be a patron and goodwill ambassador, and that this would involve me going to Africa and on business class trips and going all over Africa, meeting people, being hands on, which is what I want to do so badly. And when I asked him, is there a possibility that I can come to London and get sponsored? And he's like, as soon as they're working on getting accredited everywhere, he would be able to sponsor me and I would have the right to work in London. So that was amazing. But also with the manager, I had told her, with all the emails, very, very to the point, like, I don't have the papers to work. Just so
Hmm.
you know, I'm American. I don't have papers to work, but I'm working on it and I'm determined and I'll find a way. I'm sure it'll be, you know. And so when I had this meeting with the London manager, I said it again, like, by the way, you know, and she was like, yeah, 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 that's fine. We've worked around that before. So it was just like, oh, okay, great. Of course. Yes. And then
Yeah.
so that was really incredible.
Yeah.
Really,
Amazing.
really.
Because
Mhm.
she wasn't worried. I think you actually had the meeting, stuff before, because when you had told me in that 15 minutes of like amazing,
Mhm.
you had some contact with this manager and she was
Mhm.
like, you're brilliant, you're amazing, we really want to work with
Yes.
you.
Uh-huh.
But you were like, oh, this UNICEF thing can
That's
get me to
right.
London.
Correct. You
Yeah.
are correct. Yes.
And then your manager was like, oh, it's no big deal. And so it's
Yeah,
not
we've worked
like
around it.
you didn't
Mhm.
have one avenue, you had two because you
Yes.
just put it down
Right,
until
right.
it came up. Yes.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. And then, of course, um, it was, just so many cool things like UNICEF happening, and then, having to travel with UNICEF, because of UNICEF has been everything is just happening, and it's, like, incredible. And then the day that UNICEF asked me if I could do a workshop for them in Los Angeles I got it when I was about to do a casting director workshop in New York, like,
Yes.
literally waiting for the room to open, like, at the
Yeah.
SAG offices in New York City. And I got the email, and it was like I was, like, walking to the room, typing, like, "Yes, yes, yes." Right, you just send me the details. And then I had the workshop, and it was the best workshop in the I mean, I was like my future self. It was extraordinary, the feedback and the people, everything that happened. It all happened so again, I could have been sleeping, I feel like. I was present, but it happened, and
Yeah.
it almost felt like I was really doing nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay! Yes.
Yeah. And I think I want to go back and hit on this because when you really had that moment, was about 2 months ago where you were like, I have to let go of this role I'm holding on to.
Mhm.
Your world literally opened up.
Mhm. Yes.
Like, I mean, this is
Yes.
all since that moment. Like, London was in the works, but
Mhm.
it was still in the phase of like, can't work, can't like there's this thing in the way, right?
Right, right.
Really until you let go. And then this whole world has opened up with all these things you want, like going to Africa and
Mhm.
being of of service in that way, and just all these acting and casting directors telling you you're a dream and all of
Uh-huh.
these things.
Yes, yeah, it's oh, it's just, you know, everything that we work for, but it's not the work that we think it's gonna be. It's
Mhm.
and that's really paying off this commitment to the work that we do together.
Yes,
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share? Obviously, this is a to be continued manifestation. Like,
Mhm.
you're going to go visit London. There's going to be something amazing, and then
Mhm.
you're going to move to London. But anything else you want to share about the manifestation up to this point, or important keys to like creating this moment?
Um, yes, I think there's so much I wanna share. I the staying present, and I've gotten so much feedback as well from staying present, even with the feelings that don't feel like a even with those feelings, I think that's been a really important thing for me because I thought that when you're present all the time, you don't have bad feelings. You're just always happy, because good things always happen. And yes, they have grown exponentially, but I'm really learning that being present with it's for me, it's almost more important for me to stay present with my negative feelings because
Hmm.
I have a pattern of pretending they're not there.
Yep.
But that the more I am present with those feelings, the more they they're not they don't have any power over me. And then
Yes.
I can really, really surrender to the happy moments are even happier because there's no lingering feelings of, oh, but it's gonna end or whatever that story is, right?
Hmm.
So being present with the negative feelings right now is I think part of my next journey is allow it and be present with those because the reward is that is the reward, is being able to feel those all the way, to
Hmm.
feel everything even more so.
Yay! That's amazing. Well, I can't wait to continue this story at whatever point in the future that we do it. For listeners, this wraps up Polly's series and her chapters of growth right now. Obviously, we're going to start a new story called London and other fun things that will take place after today's interview. But it has been such a pleasure to share this journey, and just so cool to see everything that has opened up for you because you've learned to be present, feel your feelings, and really done the hard work, like the work of it's not easy to do nothing when you're like, I have to do something for what I want,
Mhm,
right?
and
And
everyone around me, everyone is doing everything,
yes,
right? So
yeah, yeah.
right.
And to
Mhm,
just learn to trust yourself and be like, nope, it'll open up. And then not one, but two doors to London open up for you. So it's amazing. I'm so excited for you, and I can't wait to pick this story up in a couple months when we get to share it with our audience.
yes. Chip, chip, cheerio, as the
Yay!
I'll say. Thank you so much, Cassie.
Thank you, Polly, and thank you all for listening. Make sure to come back next week and check out another awesome manifesting success story. The telling of stories is so powerful, both to the person telling it and the person receiving it. Since 30,000 BC, we as humans have told stories to teach and guide. And now we, with Manifesting Success Stories, hope to inspire you to what is possible in your own life. If you want more manifesting success, go to moremanifestingsuccess.com, where you'll find links to anything we've talked about on the show. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, you have the power to write your own happy ever after.